Tonight on Connecticut's news station, continued calls to take aim at gun violence.
The campus just looked like a war zone.
This after another deadly school shooting. Connecticut natives locked down on the Midwest campus. We hear from their parents horrified here at home.
Plus, 4 arrested for allegedly setting a playground on fire. Tens of thousands of dollars now needed for repairs.
Warm this Valentine's Day, and things are going to be heating up even after the holiday is over. We'll talk numbers coming up.
And Valentine's Day vows, saying I do to love while saying I don't to tradition.
It's the Super Bowl for flowers. I'm Samaya Hernandez in Suffield, where a local florist is turning around hundreds of orders in a matter of days ago that were cut off a farm in Ecuador. I'll show you coming up.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Today, Governor Ned Lamont gathered with several Connecticut mayors to endorse a series of municipal recommendations they say will reduce gun violence in the state's cities.
Yeah, this in the wake of the shooting at Michigan State University last night. Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst joins us live from the Capitol, where this meeting took place. Emma.
Jen, Ben, this group introduced 10 different proposals, and the main focus, increased accountability and consequences for those committing gun-related crimes. Now, the mayors say violence in their communities is mostly driven by repeat offenders, and what they call these common sense recommendations are just one piece of the puzzle.
Gun violence in our communities has been devastating for decades, but the last few years have been among the most difficult.
Tuesday, Connecticut mayors gathered at the Capitol with Governor Lamont to introduce a new series of proposals they say will reduce violent crime in Connecticut's urban centers. LaQuavia Jones lost 2 sons to gun violence.
If this was in place, my last son would not have been killed. He would still be here with us today.
These recommendations come out of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities Special Task Force, established in October 2022. Its goal, increasing accountability for repeat offenders involved in gun violence.
We hear statistics over and over again, but behind each statistic is a human being.
The 10 proposals include actions like establishing a definition for serious firearm offense, requiring those with a history of past offenses to post a higher bond percentage, and strengthening consequences for criminal possession of a firearm.
This is just one piece of the puzzle. We've tried very hard, over the last few weeks to put together a puzzle that'll make your community safer.
But this piece of the puzzle will need legislative support and sponsors to become law. Asked about that Tuesday, Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin says,
I don't think anyone's going to speculate on the chances of legislation. What we're going to say is we support this legislation. We support this proposal, and we look forward to working collaboratively with all legislators on both chambers and both parties to try and enact these recommendations into law.
Now, in terms of trying to enact those recommendations, I did reach out to lawmakers on the legislature's Judiciary Committee, but have not yet heard back. I emailed the co-chair, asked a couple questions about whether they've been in contact with the governor and these mayors about these proposals, if there's any support in the legislature, but like I said, have yet to hear back. I'll let you know if that changes. For now, reporting live at the Capitol, Emma Wolfhorst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Emma, keep us updated. And tonight, we are learning the identities of the 3 victims of the deadly shooting at Michigan State University. Brian Frazier, Ariel Anderson, and Alexandria Verner were all killed in yesterday's shooting. 5 others are still fighting for their lives tonight. The suspect was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after opening fire at Berkey Hall in the MSU Union Student Center. Officials saying the suspect was not a student or employee at the university. They are still investigating a motive tonight. Newtown Alliance releasing a statement calling on Congress to pass gun legislation, saying in part, quote, "We want to send another stark message to all Americans that if a mass shooting can happen in Sandy Hook, Parkland, Santa Fe, Santa Clarita, Uvalde and Michigan State University, then it can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime in a nation with 400 million civilian-owned guns and lax gun laws.
Well, earlier on the news at 5 this evening, we introduced you to a young man from Tolland who now attends Michigan State University.
He spent hours hiding in his fraternity house with friends while a gunman went on a deadly rampage just 300 feet away. Fox 61's Matt Caron joins us in studio to pick up where we left off. Matt.
Yeah, that's right. And while Mason Carez was hiding with his 7 friends and devising a plan to gather makeshift weapons and barricade the door, he was also texting with his parents to let them know that he was okay.
I was texting my mom every 5 minutes, just even if it was just saying, hey, yo, just something to let her know that I'm alive right now.
Mason had texted me and said, we're good. And I just thought, what does that mean?
Barbara and John Carez were getting ready for bed when they got the emergency alert text that every parent dreads.
And I got an alert on my phone, and then I, kind of shouted out to him, John, there's a shooter on Mason's campus.
They exchanged texts for hours as the nightmare unfolded. Parents a world away with a feeling of helplessness to protect their child.
I almost got on a plane last night.
My first reaction was, yeah, you have to defend yourself. I mean, if somebody's breaking the door down,
what's your plan?
You have numerous people there.
A sleepless night for mom and dad who, when they did close their eyes, were haunted by a knock at the door that luckily never came.
Of course, we're going to hug him and just think about his college family who maybe is not able to put their eyes on their child again. And that's just heartbreaking.
And though Mason escaped with his life, both he and his parents know that a situation this traumatic doesn't end when the police lights go away.
You may feel like you're okay now, but we really have to pay attention to the impact of going through a traumatic experience like this long term.
And both Barbara and John told me their thoughts and prayers are, of course, with the families of the loved ones who won't be able to see them graduate. They also told me that given the difficult circumstances, they certainly appreciate how transparent the university was at keeping the Spartan community informed. We're in the studio. Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. New tonight, 3 Connecticut schools closing its doors for good. Stone Academy plans to close 3 campuses after the Office of Higher Education found flaws with their systems. One of those locations is in East Hartford, which is where we find Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner, who's joining us live tonight with more on how students are reacting. DeAndrea.
Well, today was a very emotional day for students. So many LPN students came right here on campus to try to walk into these doors that are locked. They just wanted answers from administration when they got this email today saying that they are not going to have a school to come to. I even talked to one student who said she didn't see an email and I had to send it to her myself. Now that email stated that they are closing all 3 of its campuses, West Haven, Waterbury, and East Hartford. The Office of Higher Education did send out an email a few hours later stating that they will offer help for students who are impacted. The statement also went on saying, quote, for many months our offices have been working with the school to address a number of serious compliance issues that included unqualified faculty, invalid student clinical experiences, and recording attendance. Now, one student that I spoke with says that she was very close to finishing her program in May, and she just wants more transparency and answers.
My question to Stones or whoever it is who is responsible for taking over those loans? Who we get information that another institution is supposed to be taking over. Are those monies going to be paid over to them in order to facilitate our completion of the program? We need those questions answered. We really do. We have our families to feed. We have deferred our job schedules to sacrifice our evenings to come to Stones. Stones need to do better.
Now, also in that statement, it says students who have paid out of pocket for tuition due to the school's closure may be eligible for partial refunds. Now, for more information on this in this developing story, you can go to our website at fox61.com. For now, in East Hartford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61 Connecticut News Station.
All right, DeAndrea, thank you very much. Turning now to the weather. Another nice day out there. A little bit windy, but still warm.
But the sun felt strong. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. We're starting to see some changes here, Rach.
It feels like that, right? I'm like already starting to think spring things. People are sending me pictures of bulbs that are starting to come up, which is just way too soon for that. It is February, and the temperatures are only going to get warmer as we progress through this week, with obviously any storm chances bringing us rain with temperatures like this. Right now, we are still in the 40s to right around 50 degrees. The wind has come down, so I'm showing you this wind gust graphic just to say, yes, it was windy earlier today. The wind is diminished, but it comes right back again as we head into the day tomorrow. It will be windy and warmer, and we will see an increase in clouds as this disturbance gets a little bit closer to us. But first, for this evening, maybe you're heading out to dinner. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s as we head towards 8 o'clock and as we head towards the news at 10, and we will see increasing clouds to go along with it. Cloudy start to the day tomorrow, temperatures beginning in the 30s and the slightest chance for a light shower or sprinkle. Most of the state won't see it. Then the numbers rebound into the 50s as we head through the afternoon. Windy but warm. Some towns might even be able to flirt with the 60-degree mark, and it gets warmer than this for Thursday. We'll show you the numbers and if there are any signs of winter in the 7-day coming up.
Rachel, see you in a bit. Thank you. Part of I-384 in Manchester was shut down for some time this afternoon after a crash. State police responded to that scene just before 11 o'clock this morning, right to the area between exit 3 and exit 2. We're told that there were minor injuries, but it's unclear how many people were involved in this. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
Another Connecticut resident is facing charges after TSA found a gun in their carry-on bag at an airport. The man was arrested at Westchester County Airport yesterday, where TSA officials found a loaded handgun in his carry-on. Police say the man is from Southbury, but his identity was not released. We previously told you about a Connecticut woman who was also arrested for having a gun in a carry-on. This incident happening at JFK Airport in New York. Also, Metro North train service was suspended in New Canaan today after a train derailed at the Elm Street station. Police tell us the train failed to stop and hit a bumping block. No passengers were on board at the time and no injuries were reported. Substitute bus service was provided between New Canaan and Stamford in the meantime. The cause of the incident remains under investigation.
Attorney General William Tong announced that the first payment to the state from the Juul Labs vaping settlement came. The state will be getting $1.5 million in this first payment. The settlement forces Juul to stop misleading consumers and marketing to youth. Connecticut is set to receive a total of $16 million through the settlement. The money will be used for cessation, prevention, and mitigation efforts.